You know your week is going downhill faster than a Roman Reigns promo when even Rhea Ripley has to tap out. That's right, the woman who looks like she eats steel chairs for breakfast and intimidates grown men just by existing had to cancel a fan appearance, and the reason why is equal parts unfortunate and totally relatable if you've ever had one of those weeks where the universe just says, "Not today, friend." So Rhea Ripley aka Mami, aka the human embodiment of, "Don't mess with me or I'll suplex your entire family tree," just dropped some heartbreaking news that has fans in Irvine, California feeling like they got hit with a riptide. She had to cancel an in-store appearance at Hot Topic. And before you make any jokes about Hot Topic still existing in 2025, let's focus on the real issue here. Our girl Rhea is dealing with a nose injury that she picked up during WWE's recent tour of Japan, and it's bad enough that she can't make public appearances right now. Here's where the story gets interesting. Rhea has been absolutely everywhere lately. The woman has been working more dates than a calendar factory. WWE rolled through Australia and Japan recently, and Mami was competing at almost every single show like she's trying to set some kind of Iron Woman record. Australia made sense because that's home turf, but she kept that same energy all the way through Japan. Show after show, match after match, giving fans their money's worth because that's what top-tier performers do. But then October 18th happened. Tokyo House Show. Everything seemed normal until it suddenly wasn't. Rhea took a shot to the nose during her match, and not the fun kind of shot that you shake off and keep going. This was the kind that makes medical staff appear faster than Vince McMahon when he hears the words, "television deal." She had to be helped to the back, which for someone as tough as Rhea Ripley is basically the equivalent of a mortal person needing life support. Now let's connect the dots here. That nose injury in Tokyo is why fans in Irvine are getting refunds instead of selfies with Mami. Hot Topic confirmed on Instagram that the appearance was cancelled, and Rhea reshared it with an apology that started with, "So sorry." Two words that probably hurt her to type almost as much as that nose injury, because Rhea Ripley doesn't strike me as someone who apologizes often or easily. This is a woman who built her entire persona on being unapologetically dominant. But here's what makes this situation different from your typical wrestling injury storyline. Rhea didn't just cancel and ghost everyone. She actually addressed it directly and said she's hoping to reschedule so she can meet the fans who were looking forward to seeing her. That's class right there. In an era where some wrestlers would just have their team post a generic statement and call it a day, Rhea took the time to acknowledge the disappointment and try to make it right. That's the difference between someone who sees fans as ATMs and someone who actually appreciates the people who made them a star. Let's talk about the bigger picture for a second. Rhea Ripley is only 28 years old and she's already become one of the most prominent members of the entire WWE roster. Think about that. At an age where most people are still figuring out their career path and wondering if they should finally commit to that gym membership, Rhea has become a legitimate main event player, a merchandise mover, and someone that WWE trusts to represent the company on international tours. She's done everything you can do in WWE short of main eventing WrestleMania, and honestly that feels like a matter of when, not if. Former women's world champion, leader of one of the most popular factions in recent memory before the Judgment Day imploded faster than a cryptocurrency scam, and someone who can work with literally anyone and make it compelling television. That's a resume that would make most wrestlers jealous, and she's barely started her 30s. Speaking of making an impact, let's shift gears and talk about how Rhea Ripley has become the dream opponent for basically every female wrestler on the planet. It's like being a basketball player and wanting to go one-on-one with Michael Jordan, except Rhea is still actively competing and breaking people in half on a weekly basis. Case in point, Kendall Gray, who just won the Evolve Women's Championship, came out and said she wants to stand across the ring from the former Judgment Day member. Now, if you're not familiar with Kendall Gray, she's a rising star making waves on the independent scene, and the fact that her first instinct after winning a championship is to call out Rhea Ripley tells you everything you need to know about Mami's status in the industry. When you're the measuring stick that up-and-coming talent uses to validate their own success, you've officially made it. Rhea isn't just a champion, she's the final boss that everyone wants to beat to prove they belong at the highest level. Think about it like this. Wanting to face Rhea Ripley is the wrestling equivalent of a musician wanting to collaborate with Beyoncé. It's not just about the match or the moment, it's about what it says about you as a performer that you can hang with someone operating at that level. Kendall Gray calling her shot makes sense from a career perspective because even if you lose to Rhea Ripley, you probably had a banger of a match that people will remember. But all of this brings us back to the unfortunate reality of the nose injury. Rhea Ripley is in that position where everyone wants a piece of her, literally and figuratively. WWE wants her on every tour. Fans want her at every meet and greet. Independent wrestlers want to face her to boost their profiles. And her own body is probably screaming for a vacation somewhere tropical with no wrestling rings in sight. The grind of being a top WWE star is real, and sometimes that grind catches up with you in the form of a busted nose in Tokyo. Here's the thing about injuries in wrestling that casual fans don't always understand. They're not always about one big catastrophic moment. Sure, sometimes you get dropped on your head or take a bad bump and that's that. But more often, especially for someone working the schedule Rhea has been working, it's the accumulation. It's the Australia tour followed immediately by the Japan tour followed by SmackDown tapings followed by house shows followed by promotional appearances. It's death by 1,000 bumps and eventually something gives. The timing of this injury is particularly rough because Rhea has been on an absolute tear lately. Her character work has been phenomenal, her matches have been consistently great, and she's been one of the most reliable performers on the entire roster. Having to pump the brakes because of a nose injury when you're in the middle of that kind of momentum has to be frustrating. It's like finally hitting your stride in a marathon and then stepping on a rock that makes you roll your ankle. What's interesting is how this injury might affect her immediate future in WWE. Nose injuries are tricky because they can heal relatively quickly or they can require surgery and significant time off depending on the severity. We don't have all the details yet, but the fact that she's canceling public appearances suggests it's more than just a little bruise. WWE might have to adjust some plans, shuffle some storylines, and figure out how to keep Rhea relevant while she's dealing with this injury.